I'll call to order the 11th meeting of the Mayor and City Council, meeting in regular session on Monday, May 12, 2014. We will have the invocation led by our City Administrator, Krista Mills, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Mo.
Father, we are thankful that we have this time that we can come together to be about your business and to serve your people. We pray, Father, for all those that are ill tonight and cannot be with us. We pray, Father, that you would just touch them with your healing hand and do your will in their lives and the lives of their families. Father, as we come together tonight, we pray that you will guide our decisions, guide our thoughts, and allow us to do what is best for you and the people that we serve for you. For it's in the name of all that's precious and holy to you that we come before you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Rao, would you please call the roll?
Here.
Mr. Ricks?
Here.
Ms. Nicholas?
Here.
President Smalls?
Here.
Mayor Mel?
Here.
Agenda item 5, is the approval of the minutes of the 10th meeting of April 28th, 2014. Council, if there are no modification or changes, I'll entertain a motion.
So move. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Rao, please call the roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda item 6 is a report of the Mayor and City Council, and tonight we will begin with Councilwoman Nicholas.
Thank you. I'd like to wish all of the mothers a belated Happy Mother's Day. I would also like to thank all of the city departments for their assistance in aiding us as we transported the residents from Selborne House to the DePietro Center. I'd also like to thank the American Red Cross as they provided snacks and coffee for everyone. And I would particularly like to thank Gina Wade, Danny Miller, and Jimmy Smith in Mike Losky's department. I got to know them a little bit better, and I said that was the only time that they could really boss me around. But it was great. Everybody that was involved, it was just togetherness and people pulling together to help each other. Also, I'd like to thank Steve, who is the manager at Giant Foods here in Laurel, for providing donuts for everybody the following morning. And we had a wonderful time on Main Street. I'd like to thank all of the city departments, particularly the police, for their patrolling the streets, and the Laurel Board of Trade for a great job they did in organizing the event. And I have continued prayers for Mike as he has a speedy recovery. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nicholas. Councilwoman Crary.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree in thanking everyone in the city that helped during the emergency. Per usual, it's a top-notch operation around here, and all staff did a wonderful job. We had a meeting on the 8th. Councilmember Smalls and I met with the Laurel Lake seniors last week. An enjoyable meeting, and addressed their concerns and also updated them as to what was going on in the city. As Councilmember Nicholas said, we had a great time at the Main Street Festival this past Saturday. It was a wonderful crowd, no rain, and we didn't have any problems getting around or getting to the wonderful vendors that were there. And thanks to the Board of Trade and Public Works and Public Safety and the Police Department, everybody that helped. It takes all of them coming together to create a great event. Thank you again. The employee yard sale is coming up this Saturday from 9 to 2. Additionally, we'll have City Hall in the Park on the 21st. That'll be at Wellington from 6:30 to 8 at the pool house. And best wishes to Mike, and I hope he gets back here soon. I hope you're watching tonight, Mike. Take care. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm sure Mike's watching. Councilman Ricks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to echo what my colleagues have said and also add one thing. While you were over in the southern part of town, I attended a meeting on the environment that was held here at City Hall. There's a recycling plant that's up on Gunpowder Road, And that recycling plant, by law, has to have a public hearing or a series of public hearings dealing with the reorganization and the reconstruction of some of the equipment that's in that facility. And pretty much all it means is that they're getting rid of some of the, or two of the grinders that they've had for 35 years, and they're purchasing new machines, and they're more up-to-date, they're more user-friendly, they're more environmentally friendly. So certainly I encourage them to carry that forward to make sure that we in the city continue to benefit from that kind of a service. So thank you very much, Mr. President. And Mike, get well soon, please.
Thank you, Councilman Ricks. As Councilwoman Crary mentioned, she and I participated in a meeting at the Laurel Lake Senior Apartments. This sort of continues our attendance to homeowner association meetings and other sort of impromptu meetings called together, particularly in Ward 2, but certainly we'll address any issues or concerns throughout the city. We talked on topics from public transportation or bus transportation in the city and addressed some of their concerns to the county's dredging project of the two lakes. That will be coming up soon, as well as a number of other topics. And this, I think the seniors are very enthusiastic and pleased with our exchange of information and discussion. I attended the Employee Awards luncheon, and I just want to say that in the years that I've sat here at the dais and just had involvement with the city, even as a private citizen, I haven't seen a finer group of city employees that I've come across, and I have certainly had the opportunity to move around this county quite a bit. The staff, everyone from our public works all the way up to our administrative staff are just superlative in everything they do. And so I think it's certainly makes us look good, the elected officials here, but it certainly is reflected throughout the community in the compliments that we hear all the time coming from our residents regarding the services that the staff, that our city employees provide. I just have a couple of announcements that our next work session, budget work session, will be on this Wednesday, May 14th, beginning at 7:00 p.m. here in the council chambers. And the Mayor and City Council meeting schedule for Monday, May 26th, 2014 is rescheduled for Wednesday, May 28th, 2014 at 7:00 p.m. due to the Memorial Day holiday. That's all I have, Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me start out by giving Mike Kirk condolences on the passing of his sister, Mary Kay. Mike's a member of our Department of Public Works, and our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. Also, get well wishes to Tim Brockington, who's in our Department of Park and Recreation. Also, Mabel Litchfield. Chaplain Litchfield wasn't here tonight. He's with Mabel and a little bit under the weather. We wish her the very best and speedy recovery, and stand ready to assist Hulbert if he needs assistance. Also to Councilman Les, you heard Mike had a little surgery. We'd ask that if anybody has any concerns or issues, you can contact any one of the council members up here, and it'll be a couple weeks before Mike's 100%. I had the opportunity to talk to him briefly before the meeting, and he is home, and again, we stand ready to assist him and his family if they call. I want to thank Department of Park and Recs for Lake Fest. I think it was a great turnout, Mike, to you and your staff. Again, job well done. Did have the opportunity on May the 4th, the international celebration at the Tabernacle Church. Myself and Donna Crary were there. We spent our 3 hours there. We were looking for you all. So you had 3 hours to get there. It was another fine event, and we thank them for the invitation again. The Annual Employee Awards luncheon, again, congratulations to all the employees, the award recipients, and as you heard the council president say, do a great job and make us all look good. Keep up the good work. Did participate in the Fox 5 zip trip. That was the Channel 5, Washington D.C.'s first zip trip, came to Laurel on Main Street, highlighted many of the good things that happen here in the city, as well as our Main Street Festival, and we want to thank them for coming out and highlighting the city of Laurel. The Main Street Festival, as you well are aware, was on Saturday. A great turnout. Weather held up, and I want to thank the Laurel Board of Trade for all their work, their planning, and all their work of making it another great success, as well as the city staff. No issues that we had to deal with. I think a couple minor things in the police department and code enforcement had to deal with, but all in all, it was a good day, and I think all those vendors that came made a little bit of money too. The library had the opportunity to talk to Jack Sloan, who's with County Central Services. You know, the library is moving forward. I reminded him it's not going to move forward much longer if they don't get the lease to us. We have to have public hearings. Council has to approve that. They are moving along. Jack has passed that word up. In fact, he called me back and said we should have a lease hopefully today or tomorrow. As always, it's in the Office of Law. So hopefully there's no changes to this. As I said to him, we only have one meeting in June, right? Are we doing one meeting? Two? Well, I told him one, so hopefully that helped to get it here. But anyways, there is going to be public hearings regarding Emancipation Park, as we have talked about this for the past year more. The library is moving forward. We have worked with the county, the library system, to make sure that the park, they're going to have to take some of the park area. The building will actually come out into the park area. There'll be a lot of enhancements. I think the community is excited about it, but the council still has to give that approval, and there still has to be public hearings, which takes us a little bit longer. So, Bob, on your side, if you could maybe make a call and make sure it's on the way. The floods that occurred on May the 1st, 30th, May the 1st, I want to thank all the city staff. I want to thank council members that are up here. All the members of the council were out for us. It was a long day and a half or 2 days, whatever it was. I can tell you that we were ready to, we closed the EOC at 11 o'clock. That night we did our checks of where we think some issues, where it always floods. We were satisfied at 11 o'clock. WSSC advised us that they felt if we made it till midnight, everything would be fine on their end. Everybody closed down the EOC. I got home, and at midnight, 20 minutes after I got home, we were advised that WSSC was opening all their gates. That caused a lot of issues for the city of Laurel. We have a meeting tomorrow with the general manager as well as other officials. I'm not happy that the city of Laurel had to call and ask for the meeting, and that's going to be relayed to him tomorrow. Quite frankly, they should have been on the phone talking to us. There's a lot of damage of business owners as well as a lot of city property, and we're going to have some detailed discussions about that. We'll keep the general public involved. One of the other things will be end up probably within the next week or 10 days, we hope to have a community meeting or with the businesses that have been affected to have some input and then formulate some strategy. This is going to cost some money for the city as well as a lot of the businesses, and we're going to see where it goes. The City Hall in the park, as you heard, is at Wellington Pool and Park, Community Park, from 6:30 to 8 on the 21st. And then we want to talk about, I want to thank Mayor and Council. Want to let you all know, here, Eddie, you can hold that. That's my prop for the night. We announced on Friday the My Laurel app, excuse me. This is the mobile app the city has been working on for probably about 8 months. It is, I encourage the public to, on their tablets or on their phones, to download it. It gives you access to city government. It puts information, the city can put information back out to you all. And one of the nice pieces about this is it has the 311, or what they call a service request. You're out walking or you see something, you can take a picture of it, you can locate it, you can send it. It goes to, department heads won't like it, but I like it because it gets directly to them. Then action can be taken to get it fixed. So encourage you to download it, sign up for it, and there's a lot of good information on it. We'll be announcing a couple other pieces of this, some widgets that we're working on as well in the next couple of weeks. And I do have some pamphlets up here if somebody wants some. Thank you. And I have a couple presentations. First proclamation is 2014-5. Whereas Public Works provides for the maintenance and construction of the city facilities and protects the health safety of the community, and whereas Public Works maintains 57 miles of streets, that number may go up in 2 weeks or so if you're watching tonight, and that there are company sidewalks, curb, gutter, trees throughout the city with ongoing programs and inspections and repair. And whereas the activities and responsibilities of the Department of Public Works include administration, street maintenance, refuse collection, disposal, recycling, traffic safety, tree management, snow removal, and automobile maintenance, and flooding at times. And whereas the efficiency and the quality of the dedicated personnel who staff the Public Works is influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work that they perform. And now, therefore, I, Craig Amo, the Mayor of the City of Laurel, do hereby proclaim May the 18th through the 24th as Public Works Week. Paul, why don't you come on up? And I know you got a couple things as well. Paul McCollum is our Public Works Director. Congratulations. Thanks, Paul. There you go.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Moe. I appreciate the designation and the recognition of Public Works in the City of Laurel. I'm certainly honored to be one of the professionals of Public Works for the city, and also associated with a lot of other Public Works professionals throughout our country. That's because I'm old and I've been around for a long time. But one of the things that's really given me probably as much honor, and I'm proud of anything, is the American Public Works Association designated me a Public Works Leadership Fellow, and to be just associated with these Public Works type people around the country makes me feel real proud of them. So one of the things that the American Public Works Association does annually is they commission a recognized illustrator to prepare and do a poster for the Public Works Week each year. This year, the theme was Building for Today, Planning for Tomorrow. This year's theme, Building for Today, Planning for Tomorrow, represents the classic idea of stewardship embodied by the profession of public works and the professionals that practice it. Focusing on the communities, building points out the day-to-day aspect of public works that is a quality of life that we're looking for, while planning references the sustainable practices that ensure that the quality of life for the future keeps on going. The poster this year has been finished, Building for Today, Planning for Tomorrow, and I will have this sitting over on the side, and then we will post this, actually put it outside in the lobby where it can be viewed for the next couple of weeks through the end of Public Works Week, and then after that, it will go back to Public Works, where we'll join the rest of the Public Works posters that are done annually. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Paul. You know, all kidding aside, Paul and his staff really do great things around the clock that people don't know. Like I said, the snow removal, the flooding, and those types of things. So, Paul, again, thank you and congratulations to all your staff. Proclamation 2014-1, whereas on May the 17th, 2014 is the 4th National Kids to Parks Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust, and whereas National Kids to Parks empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and to visit America's parks, whereas it is important to introduce new generations to our nation's parks because of the decline in park attendance over the last decade, and whereas we should encourage children to lead more active lifestyles to combat the issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and whereas National Kids to Parks Day is open to all children and adults across the country to encourage a large and diverse group of participants, and whereas National Kids to Park Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and the outdoors. And now, therefore, I, Craig A. Moe, the Mayor of the City of Laurel, do hereby proclaim May the 17th as National Kids to Parks Day. Mike, our Park and Recs Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, this date, on the 17th, we'll have a little special thing going. We did the same thing down at the Granville Goody Park last year. So we want the kids to get out, enjoy the park, but if they help us out a little bit by picking up a few pieces of trash, we give them a free boat ride for that day. So it's very important that the kids use our facilities, our parks, our public spaces, and as the mayor said, getting a lot of exercise, getting out there in the fresh air is going to do everybody a lot of good, and we hope they continue to do that. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mike. And the last one is Proclamation 2014-6, whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which that date falls as Police Week. And whereas our law enforcement personnel are dedicated to the communities they serve, working tirelessly to transform neighborhoods despite facing daily threats, public safety officers embrace innovative approaches in improving and upholding the rule of law. And whereas our officers put their lives on the line to protect others, sometimes making the ultimate sacrifice. One death is one too many. And now, therefore, I, Craig A. Moe, the Mayor of the City of Laurel, do hereby proclaim May the 11th, 2014 through May the 17th as National Police Week. And the Deputy Chief is going to accept that, Jimmy Brooks. You want to talk a little bit about what's going on out in there?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is National Police Week. The last couple of days, we've had a number of officers down at Washington Reagan Airport escorting families of our fallen comrades in, and they've come back and just told some very interesting stories, and you see the strength of the family members as they discussed within detail of what's actually occurred to their family members. And I think our officers are really getting something out of that. They're really truly understanding what this job entails. So thanks for the recognition, and we'll try to continue to do a good job for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We'll now move to Agenda Item 7, is general public hearing. I have no one signed up to speak during the general public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the general public hearing at 7:23. Agenda Item 8 is a motion to declare the state of emergency in the City of Laurel issued by Executive Order Number 2014-3 on April 30th, 2014 ended. I will entertain a motion, Council.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, please call a roll.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Crary?
Yeah,
Ms.
yes.
Nicholas?
Yes.
President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda Item 9 is consideration of a recommendation for street patching, contract number LA-14-02. Mr. McCullough?
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Moe, and council members. Every year we have a street patching contract. We have money in the general operating budget for this, and we put it out to bid. At a sealed bid opening at 10 o'clock on April the 22nd, 2014, the city received only one bid for contract 1A14-02, street patching, prior to the official sealed bid opening. And because there was only one bid, and we have a practice of trying to have at least three competitive bids to review, our recommendation at this point is to not award this particular contract to the single bidder, but actually modify the contract proposal and put it out and re-advertise it for another bid. Hopefully, by adding some more work to it, we can get more contractors interested, get a better price, and get some of the patching that needs to be done completed. So our recommendation at this time is not to award.
Thank you, Mr. McCullough. Council, as you know, we discussed this as our May 7th work session. What's your pleasure?
I recommend that we go along with the recommendation of Mr. McCullough.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Ricks. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Rao, would you please call for the vote?
Ms. Crary?
Yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas? Yes. President Smalls?
I vote yes. Agenda item 10 is the introduction of first public hearing on Charter Resolution Number 163, first 2014 annexation. An annexation resolution to amend the charter of the City of Laurel by the addition thereto of section number 249 entitled First 2014 Annexation, providing for the annexation of containing properties located on the north and south side of Contee Road, consisting of a total of 63.33 acres of land, more or less, including portions of Virginia Manor Road, Contee Road, and all of Virginia Manor Court, being used as a public right-of-way, such properties being more particularly described in Exhibits A and B attached hereto, and the properties being placed 8.4699 acres in the R55 zone. What was that? 14.7651 acres in the R5 zone and 36.6573 acres in the IG zone. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:26. Mr. Brock.
Yes, Mr. President. Charter Resolution Number 163 is the first annexation for 2014. The total land area being requested for annexation is 63.33 acres. The location is north of Virginia Manor Road, north and south of Contee Road, and west of Victoria Falls. State law requires that petitions be signed by owners of not less than 25% of the assessed value of the real property in the annexed areas. We have received 80.9% petitions representing the value. It also requires that not less than 25% of the property owners sign the petition. We have received 19 of 23, or 82.6%. If you have any particular questions, there are representatives here in the audience, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. We have 3 people signed up to speak on this agenda item. We'll begin with Mr. Russell Shipley. Mr. Shipley, if you'll come forward and give your name and address for the record.
Yes, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, for the record, members of the council. For the record, my name is Russell W. Shipley. I'm an attorney with offices in Largo, Maryland, and I represent 3 of the petitioners in this case: Ergo Properties, LLC, Steve Collins Trust, and also Brandywine Corporex 2, LLC. My 3 clients' properties comprise about 30 acres out of the 63 acres. The Collins and Ergo properties are on the west side of the proposed annexation area. The Ergo property is vacant. The Collins property is lived on by Steve Collins' widow and son. The third property I represent is the Brandywine Corporex LLC property. Is about 21.9 acres. It's bisected by Virginia Manor Court. All three of us are petitioners in this case. I would point out that Brandywine owns the property, but it's leased to Insurance Auto Auctions, which is represented by Tom Haller, who I believe is also signed up to speak. I just wish to state that as petitioners, we, of course, are in favor of the petition, and I think Mr. Brock's presentation and report to you and the map that's on the screen are totally accurate, and we have no problems with the city staff report and would like to be annexed into the City of Laurel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shipley. The next person I have signed up is Mr. Tom Haller. Mr. Haller, if you'll please come up and give your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Tom Haller. I'm an attorney with offices at 1300 Caraway Court, Largo, Maryland, and I'm here today representing Insurance Auto Auctions. As Mr. Shipley indicated, Insurance Auto Auctions leases property from Brandywine Corporex Limited Partnership, which is the owner of a little over 20 acres of land, which is included in the annexation area. We've been working with the city as well as with the property owner regarding this annexation, and I wanted to indicate to the city that we fully support the petition of the property owner to be annexed into the City of Laurel, and we've also had an opportunity to review the staff report and also concur with its recommendation to approve the annexation. Be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And finally, I have Mr. Bill Riggins. Again, Mr. Riggins, if you will give your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Bill Riggins. I'm with the law firm of Lanoes and Blocker at 7200 Wisconsin Avenue, Bethesda, Maryland. I represent the Janoski family members who are the owners of 4 parcels on both the north and the south side of Contee Road. My clients are Mr. Howard Janoski, Gary Janoski, Nancy Keogh, sure, Jane Athey, all of whom are here, and also Judy Curtis and Diane Janoski, who are not here. Which one is it? The red, that one. Oh, gotcha, okay. Okay. So the Janoskis own what is called Parcel 17, which is there, and Parcel 19, which is there. And the Janoskis also own Parcels 36 and 37, which are here and here. We have read the staff report. We support the staff report and support the annexation. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Riggins. That completes the sign-up list. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:32. The second public hearing will be held on Wednesday, May 28th, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. Agenda item 11 is the introduction to first public hearing on Charter Resolution number 164, second 2014 annexation. An annexation resolution to amend the charter of the City of Laurel by the addition thereto of section number 250 entitled Second 2014 Annexation, providing for the annexation of certain properties located on the north and south sides of Maryland State Route 198 between the Patuxent River on the east and the City of Laurel corporate limits on the west, consisting of a total of 124.869 acres of land, more or less, such properties being more particularly described in Exhibits A, B, C, and D, attached here too, and the properties north of Maryland State Route 198, 10.735 acres, being placed in the CG zone, and 1.433 acres in the PI zone, and property south of Maryland State Route 198, 4.9290 acres being placed in the CG zone, and 107.7720 acres in the PI zone. I read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:34. Mayor?
Jack, make sure we talk a little bit about that 100 acres,
Okay.
just on the breakup of it. I just want to make sure.
There is 124.869 total acres proposed to be annexed into the city. Let me see here. On the north side of 198, there's the Kimco property, is where the shopping center is. On the west of the property is Carol's Western Wear, and there's the Pizza Hut, and then there's property that is vacant, that's in wetlands, and there's one portion of the parcel that's owned by the city. It all goes all the way up to the north boundary line, which is the boundary of the corporate limits currently. On the south side is the Dutch market, there's a pizza place and so forth. Most of this land is vacant. 71.1 acres is this area here, is owned by the city. There's also another parcel owned by the city which is contiguous to it. And there is a parcel by the shopping center on the north and the south side. Those three parcels belong to Prince George's County. They're rights of way. There is one parcel that's a flag lot that is owned by, just a moment, D.S. Laurel, no, Leader Smith and Sandra Lennox, Fort Meade Road. These are all wetlands that will be used essentially what they are now, open space. A state statute requires that the petitions have been signed by the owners of at least 25% of the assessed value of the property. We have received petitions for 69.4% of the assessed value. It also requires 25% of the property owners. We've received petition from 81.8% of the property owners, and that does not include the city and the county land. That is strictly the privately owned land.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. I have no one signed up to speak for this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Sir, if you'll come forward and give your name and address for the record.
Jeff Glazer, Vice President of Kimco Realty for Development and Acquisition in the Mid-Atlantic region. Address 7907 Springway Road, Baltimore, Maryland 21204. Thank you, Mr. President, Mayor, Council. All I want to do is, we've talked about this with the administration for years. We're quite excited to finally be here. Both parties have wanted to figure out the right time to do it. We finally figured it's the right time to do it. It's been difficult to figure out how to do additional development as both Prince George County and City of Laurel property go right through our property, which is the shopping center. And our parcel is nothing on this map, but the previous map before this is the shopping center, and the wetlands behind it is pieces that I control. So we're quite excited to have this finally done, and if there's any questions that anybody on council has for me, I'm here to answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:38. The second public hearing with possible action will be held on Wednesday, May 28th, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. I need my glasses on all the time. Mr. Manzi?
You can have a second public hearing, but you can't have possible action on either one of these two. They both have to go to 4 weeks of advertisement before our final action. which will be sometime in the month of June. So, but we can continue to have public hearings. I think it's your first meeting in June?
Scheduled for June 12th.
June 12th.
And the notices have been made.
Right, so we're.
Thank you.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
In case someone got the wrong impression that this would be approved at the next meeting. I wanted to make it clear that it cannot be approved at the next meeting by state law.
Thank you. That was more habit than script. So, sorry. So, second public hearing will be held on the 28th at 7 o'clock p.m. for the record. Yes. Yes, I understand. Agenda item 12 is the introduction of first public hearing on Charter Resolution number 165, a resolution to amend the City of Laurel Charter to make an adjustment in the ward boundaries of the city. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:40. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:40. The second public hearing with possible action will be on Wednesday, May 28th at 7 o'clock p.m. Agenda item 13 is the introduction of first public hearing on ordinance number 1800, text amendment number 232, an ordinance to amend Chapter 20, Land Development and Subdivision, Article 1, Zoning, Division 5, Zoning Districts of the Laurel City Code, providing an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:40. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:41. Second public hearing with possible action will be on Wednesday, May 28th, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. Agenda item 14 is the introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 1801, an ordinance to amend Article 4 entitled Dead and Dying Trees Removal of Chapter 7 entitled Garbage, Trash, Weeds, etc. of the Code of the City of Laurel to add additional language concerning what is or is not a hazardous tree and to define when trees will be considered hazardous to the extent that they must be pruned. I read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:42. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:42. The second public hearing with possible action will be held on Wednesday, May 28th, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Mr. President, if you wouldn't mind, I'd make a comment. Mr. Manzi, thank you. That made it a lot clearer for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Agenda item 15 is the introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 1802, an ordinance adopting the operating budget of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2015, and to levy property taxes and to authorize the collection of such taxes and approving this capital improvement program for fiscal year 2015 through 2020. I read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:43. Ms. Saylor?
Mayor Mo, Mr. President, and members of the council, Ordinance 1802 provides for the FY 2015 operating budget. It's a balanced budget of $27,782,638. It was submitted to the City Council in advance of the charter required May 1st deadline. It maintains current city services as well as the city tax rates. It was the first electronically submitted budget, as well as the first completely combined document of the operating budget and the capital improvement program. The capital improvement program section provides for $3,302 in projects. Of that, $918,500 is coming from outside sources such as grants. The remaining $2,383,500 is provided by city funding, including speed camera funds, as well as an operating transfer from the FY15 operating budget of $634,801 and current balances that are in the capital improvement program. Additionally, Ordinance 1796 was passed earlier in the year, and it provided $1,189,305 in funding for the FY15 capital improvement program.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:45. The second public hearing with possible action will be on Wednesday, May 28, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. Agenda item 16 is the introduction of the first public hearing on resolution number 614, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel accepting the Boys and Girls Club financial and operational review task force report. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open a public hearing at 7:45. Mayor Mo.
I just want to make sure we're all working off the same one, because I got what Councilmember Crary had asked for on page 2, where we talk about the $25 membership fee. We added the word annual as well as a couple other cleanups in this. So it was a copy that we put at your desk that was tonight. I should have put a date on it, but that's a good way to reference it with the annual.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no one signed up to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing at 7:46. Second public hearing with possible action will be on Wednesday, May 28, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. That concludes our agenda. Is there any other business to come before the Mayor and City Council? Seeing none, our meeting is adjourned.